Nothing is secure, and we are all doomed. Brought to you in part by Pogo Linux. If you need a server, perhaps one that you can secure, go to pogolinux.com. They sell you massive, gigantic, awesome servers powered by Linux, all shapes, all sizes. Pogo Linux don't discriminate. They just make cool servers. Find out more at pogolinux.com. All right. Oh, here we go. So nothing is secure and we're all doomed. Sure, it may look a little clickbaity. I know that's what that slide looks like. But I mean it. We're all doomed. And nothing is secure. Specifically, and why I say that is this. If there is one point of failure in a system, the entire system is compromised. Now, that doesn't hold true 100% of the time, but 99% of the time it does. And if 99% of the systems are compromised, that remaining 1% ain't going to mean a whole hell of a lot. And forgetting that for even a moment is dangerous. Believing that you are secure is fundamentally dangerous. Recently, I made a video and I entitled it HTTPS is dangerous. So the secure version of HTTP is dangerous. It's over the top, right? It's intense, right? Oh my lordy, did people get pissed off at me for that? But my point really was not that, say, an encrypted form of communication itself is inherently dangerous. But when you take something like that, like an encrypted protocol, like HTTPS, and you present it to the world like this is a holy grail of making us secure, that is what's dangerous. Not the ability to encrypt a hard drive, not the ability to encrypt a communication protocol. Those are good. Those are good things. Making us more secure is good. It isn't bad. But forgetting, even for a second, that we are nowhere near secure is fundamentally, astoundingly dangerous. Because then we stop policing ourselves. Then we stop paying attention to what we do with our personal data, where we put it, and who we send it to. That is dangerous. When a company presents something like HTTPS or anything else as a cure-all, as snake oil to solve our security woes, that's fundamentally, astoundingly dangerous. And that really was the point I was making with that. And to get more to the point, there are so many different ways that we are insecure throughout our entire lives. Top to bottom, left to right, up to down, the whole thing, front to back, we are insecure. I'm going to go through just an off the top of my head list of all the things we do, all the ways we communicate that are so fundamentally insecure that it is almost insane, and point out that so many of the ways that we do communicate that are secure rely upon those insecure ways, thus making even the most secure method of communication and transmitting and storing data entirely and completely vulnerable in almost every way imaginable. Let's go. SMS. You do text messaging? That stuff is transmitted in the least secure way you could possibly imagine. It's snoopable, searchable, and hackable, not just by the cell phone companies, not just by the governments, but by anyone who wants to take a little bit of time to read up on Wikipedia on how to intercept SMS messages. It ain't secure. It just ain't. And now, if you think about that for a minute, when you go to your bank's website, which you might be an encrypted connection, and you reset your password, one of the options almost always is, do you want to send the identification code or the two-step authentication to you via SMS? Do you want me to text message it to you? Because that's so super secure. No, it's not. It's fundamentally flawed in more ways than I can possibly count. Digital cameras. When you take a picture with your digital camera, whether it's a cell phone, a really nice DSLR camera, the content on it was not encrypted. Do you ever take a picture of something that you don't want to post to the internet? Think about that for a second. If you have a DSLR, Do you want unedited every picture to be available to someone else? Might that information be used somehow against you? Might be. Might that information be used in conjunction with someone else, with some other piece of information against you somehow? Could be. Well, that's just not encrypted. It's not protected at all. In fact, there's a lot of ways to pull those images off your camera. And a lot of times there's information, an EXIF data on that camera that can identify a whole lot more than just what's the picture itself. There's no security there whatsoever. How about your drives? Your hard drive. Now, some of you may be saying, well, I encrypt my home folder. You encrypt your home folder, do you? How about the entire rest of your hard drive? Is it encrypted? Because if it's not, there is a huge amount of data outside of the encrypted files in your home folder or your documents folder or any other folder that you might be encrypting. A huge amount, so much so that just simply pouring through the deleted data that is in whatever temporary folder you have, stuff that typically gets deleted on reboot, regardless of what operating system you're on, can tell you a huge amount about what exactly you're doing. That includes document saves, temporary documents held somewhere. Let's say you encrypt all of your spreadsheets. A lot of spreadsheet applications will store some of that stuff outside of where your document is being stored, such as in a temporary folder. Even if it's deleted, unless you zeroed out every one of those darn bits, it can be easily recovered. We know probably where you're at. That information's stored outside of your home folder. We know a whole lot about you, and we know what applications you're running. We know a ton. And it's all because your drive is not encrypted. It's just not. Not even if you think it's a little bit encrypted. You might have a little bit that's hard to get at, but only a little bit doesn't help. How about your email? Oh my Lord, is email insecure. If you're using, let's say, POP or SMTP or IMAP, etc., it's not secure. It's just not. There are some aspects of it that are somewhat secure. Your username and password are sent in reasonably secure ways. Well, that's fair enough. That data is stored on a server somewhere. That data is easy to read. It's plain. It's plain as day. That can be read by anyone who can get access to that system. And getting access to systems is not hard. It's not rocket science, people. It's really easy, in fact. So not only is that easy, but when it's sent to you, even if it's over HTTPS, it's really easy to intercept and get at. It's just easy to get your details of your email. End of story. In fact, email is so insecure that there are significant numbers of email providers that we already know for a fact are being heavily monitored, indexed, cataloged, and made searchable by not just many government agencies like the NSA, in the case of Yahoo specifically, but by other companies who do not necessarily have authorization to have access, and some cases who buy that right from the company providing you the email. You don't have access to those servers, do you? When you send an email, do you have the ability to go to the server where your email is stored and take a look at it? No, you don't, because it's not yours. It's someone else's, and someone else is running it for you, and the emails aren't secured in the first place, so if someone wants to copy it off, it's real easy. Thumb drives are magic. Talking, like with your mouth. Do you do it encrypted? Even if you do it in Pig Latin, it's probably not encrypted. Even if you do it in a language most people don't speak around you, it's not secure. Talking is insecure. Do you talk on the phone? Like with your mouth? That's not secure. It's not secure at all. If people overhear you, they can record you. People don't even have to be in the same room as you to record you. The vibrations your talking makes against windows makes it very easy to pick up that sound from across the street with a simple antenna pointed at the friggin' window. It's not secure at all. No cone of silence is going to help you unless you live your life inside of it. Phone calls. I think we covered that one. However, the phone calls go even further than just talking is insecure. It is trivially easy to pinpoint your location if I know that you've got a particular cell phone on. Trivially easy. It's easy to intercept your cell phone connection to a cell phone tower and pretend that I'm your cell phone tower. Trivially easy. You can look up online how to build these things. Anyone can do it with parts from Radio Shack. What am I saying, Radio Shack? Radio Shack's not really a thing anymore. But parts you order online from Amazon.com, the new Radio Shack. It's not secure. And not only that, but all the data that's being collected on you from those cell phone calls determines your location and who else you're calling. And even if you are in a cone of silence, in a lead bunker, buried in the ground, making a phone call, where's the person that you're calling? What lines is it going to get to them? What digital servers is your signal going through? It's not secure. Postal mail. I can't believe I even need to mention this one, but postal mail is astoundingly insecure. This is a given. It's an envelope with some sticky glue on it. Yeah, you little bit of steam, you pop that sucker open, nobody's the wiser. Postal mail is insecure, and yet think about how much highly sensitive information is transmitted via postal mail. Does your mailbox have a lock on it? Most people's don't. Some people do, like especially if you're like in an apartment complex or you have one of those like community mailboxes. Sometimes you have a key, and if you're a really like paranoid person, you might have a lock on your mailbox, or the mail might come through a slot in your front door or something. But unless that's the case, getting to your mail is easy. What gets sent to you in mail? Well, PIN numbers for new credit cards, details about your insurance, details about your mortgage, details about your job, your W-2 forms, all of your utilities, personal correspondence, the like. It's all sent via postal mail, and it's all astoundingly insecure. Astoundingly so. And you know what else is ridiculous? Faxes. Medical institutions, at least here in the United States, rely heavily on faxes, as do many like banks and whatnot. They rely heavily on faxes. Can you intercept a fax? Yeah. Can you see a printed out fax and take a quick picture of it? Yeah. Can you just grab the piece of paper from the printed out fax and run? Yeah. Is it secure in any way, shape, or form? No. Is vital information transmitted on it every second of every day, 365 days a year? Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah, it is. Your personal medical information, banking information, contracts, all sent via fax. And it's not secure. Not at all. Post-it notes. I had to put this one on here because did you see, so the whole Hawaii false alarm, there's missiles incoming thing that happened some weeks back. Many of us thought it was very funny. This is a serious issue just the same, but one of the great things about it is there's a picture online of the systems, the department in Hawaii that handled those sorts of things, that handles those test drills and whatnot. And that picture that got circulated online literally had a Post-it note with the password for the machine right there written on the monitor, and it's in the picture frame. Post-it notes are not secure. Yet so many people put passwords on Post-it notes, put personal information on Post-it notes, put phone numbers on Post-it notes, put contact information on Post-it notes, put things that they want to do or scheduled appointments they have on Post-it notes. Is it secure? No. Obviously it's not. Yet we do it every single day. Most people do it. Pagers. Doctors use pagers all the time. Is the information sent via pagers secure? No. No, it is not. Super easy to snoop. Super mega easy to spoof. Totally not secure. Doctors and hospitals rely on it. Rely on it. Not at all secure. WEP Wi-Fi. And unprotected Wi-Fi, I guess. Not secure. Do we want to think it's secure? Yeah, it's been broken into. That's not even considering that people might not have gained access to your physical location or the physical location of a Wi-Fi router. It's simply not secure regardless. It's easy to break through. You break through that, you now have access to every machine connected to it. It's just how it works. Using most modern CPUs. The security vulnerabilities in most modern CPUs are extreme. Whether it's the Intel Management Engine or the Spectre Meltdown class of exploits, getting full access to every bit of memory that's in your machine is actually not that hard anymore. We know how to do it. We just do. It's not a theory. It's not paranoid delusions. It's just the reality of the world we live in. Once you have that, no amount of security on your system can protect you from someone who wants to get at your data. It's just not possible. Debit card PIN pads. How many people are out there, swipe their debit card, stick in their chip reader, and type their PIN number out, their little 4-digit PIN that controls their entire bank account? Super easy to monitor that with your eyeballs. If you go out there, I've accidentally seen someone else's PIN number because I was zoning out. I literally was this was quite some time ago actually, but I was at the grocery store and I was just tired. If I remember right, like my son had the flu or something, and I was going to pick up some Pedialyte or something, and I hadn't slept in a day or two, and I was sitting there. And I was just zoning out in the checkout line. And I was just looking off into distance. You know you do when your eyes don't even focus on anything. And someone put in their card into I think they swiped it. I think this was prior to everyone getting the chip readers. And they typed in their PIN number and moved on. And I realized that I'd seen that person's PIN, and I almost mumbled it out loud just because I was zombied out. I was like, 2774. Like I almost did that, and like that would have been a horrible thing for me to do, and I didn't intend to look at it. But if you can do that when you're a sleep deprived father zoning out, yeah, stealing that's incredibly easy. In fact, it's super easy to just steal that, to swipe all the information on those cards. It's really easy. That's why credit cards in general, astoundingly insecure. Astoundingly. How much information do you need to use those online? Just the information that's printed on them, baby. Pretty much. There's a couple of places that you'll need to, enter addresses and stuff, because that's really hard to figure out someone's address and zip code. It's super easy. You look it up on the internet. It's easy. Checks. This is still being used. A piece of paper that says, no, for realsy, I have this bank account. Here has my money, please. That's a real thing. You can forge checks. You just can. In fact, you don't even need to take the check anymore to the bank. The banks don't even have to keep it on file. You put it in front of you. The little friggin' phone app will take a picture of it and just send a picture and be like, oh, I'm pretty sure that's Brian's check. Oh, yeah, take $35 and give it to this person. Seriously, that's how that works. It is astoundingly insecure. Astoundingly insecure. Off the charts level of insecurity. And yet we do it. Yet we rely on it. All of these things we rely on. I'm not even done. Radio, and I'm not just talking about like AM, FM radio. I'm talking about CB radios and ham radios and the like. Police scanners. You ever listen to a police scanner? You can listen to everything the cops are saying. Is it secure? Nope, not at all. We know what the cops are doing. We know where they're at. We know what they're thinking. We know what crimes are being committed, which makes it really easy for us to know where all the police resources are when we want to commit crimes in a completely different part of town. Super, super easy. Super, super insecure, and we just don't even think anything of it all the time. Whoops, I already had that one. Wait, where'd that come from? There we go. I had 2 repeats in there. Non-auditable software. There's just a huge amount we don't know about things we can't audit. If we don't know it's secure, we should just assume it's insecure. I mean, that's just a pretty reasonable thing. I just read a story about a flight sim company that when you installed their flight simulator, if they felt like you might be stealing their software, they pulled all your passwords. They did a password dump from Google Chrome and sent it back to themselves. Yeah. Non-auditable closed source software is damn dangerous. I mean, highly dangerous. And again, if there's a single point of failure, the entire system is compromised. How many points we just went through 20. This isn't even a comprehensive list, guys. And so many of the secure methods we use to try and encrypt and secure our data are reliant on multiple of these various insecure methods of transmitting information or storing things. Multiple, which means none of it is secure. That's what that literally means. There's no other way to look at it. That is what it is. Now, does this mean that we should give up? Does this mean that Lunduk is saying that nothing's secure, so we don't even try? No, of course not. However, it does mean a couple of things. First and foremost, companies like Google, Microsoft, organizations like the EFF and whatnot should not be putting such a heavy emphasis on singular bits of technology. Because when you put that heavy of an emphasis on something like HTTPS or other things, you start to give people a false sense of confidence that they are more secure than they actually are. People are not, at this point in time, in any way secure. They're just not. Should we move more down that road? Yes. That's why it's so important to make sure we do things like disable the Intel management engine, so we fix Spectre and Meltdown vulnerabilities in our CPUs, that we implement things like secure encrypted protocols for HTTP, just like HTTPS. Important, critical steps, but tiny steps. Should we be encrypting our home folder? Yes, we should be encrypting our entire drive. Beyond that, the whole darn kit and caboodle, but we're usually not. We should be taking all these other steps that we've laid out here today, from postal mail to text messaging to cell phone communications, all of it, and recognizing that none of that is secure. Some of it laughably so. Some of it you can accidentally breach the security of. We should be fixing those things. The system is only as secure as the weakest point. And if the weakest point is so weak that you can accidentally breach it, then the entire system is foobarred. It's done. So, nothing is secure, and we're all doomed. Because the reality is we're not going to do away with postal mail anytime soon. We're not going to find a way to make it secure. We're not going to. We're not going to get rid of text messaging, SMS messaging. We're not going to get rid of pin pads on our debit cards. Hell, we just implemented a whole new system for publicly and visibly typing in pin pads. Fax machines don't seem to be going anywhere. Post-it notes. My God, who doesn't love a good, colorful Post-it note? None of these things are going away. And the stupidity of people for storing information in bad ways isn't going away either. And if you're communicating with other people, no matter how secure you are, unless they're secure too, your communication isn't secure. Which means the amount of work that needs to be done is obscene in order to actually be secure. I mean, obscene. To the point where it just is not going to happen. Should it happen? Yes. But in reality, it's not going to. We've seen multiple data breaches happening to systems that should be secure, which means that the systems that are being broken into shouldn't have been broken into, right? Because they were secured. HTTPS, encrypted drives, behind lock and key, all sorts of stuff. They still get broken into. Whether they're systems at the NSA, Equifax, so many other agencies, companies big and small. Apple got just reamed. Whole bunch of data got stolen. So what? It's not getting any better. In fact, Apple has just recently given they're giving their entire Chinese data center over to the Chinese government. They're letting a subsidiary of the Chinese government run their data center now, which basically makes it even less secure, which means that Apple has even less access to it than we did before, which means we're moving backwards. We're not moving forward. The only thing that we can do as individuals is understand how insecure we are and act accordingly. Store your data like your life depends on it. Keep it as secure as you can. Recognize that if you're posting something online, insecure. If you're storing your data on your hard drive, be very careful about where you put it. Make sure it's encrypted. If you have a Post-it note with something important, don't put it on your monitor. Don't send any of that information over postal mail. If you need to get an access code for your bank account, don't have it sent over text message. Dear Lord, people. We've got to think about these things, because otherwise we're in a load of something or other. And I would like to just leave this by saying that I sell t-shirts. That's the most inarticulate and awkward segue possible. If you go to lunduke.com, you can buy t-shirts and coffee cups and things like that help support this show. This show is also supported in part by System 76, who make truly righteous laptops that run Linux, which at least is a little more secure than the alternative. You can find out more over at system76.com, and Lulzbot, makers of that beautiful 3D printer. Just glorious. And as far as I know, I don't think that thing sends back any identifying information about things I'm printing to any foreign service. And by foreign, I mean outside of my house. Nice and secure. Lulzbot.com. And a big thanks to my supporters over on Patreon at patreon.com/Brian Lunduke for making this show possible. You guys rock. Here's a whole bunch of you. There's more now. I haven't updated this list. I need to. My apologies. But there's a bunch of you. It's like 500 some of you. You're awesome. I love you all. Thank you, everybody. And I'm going to go cry for a while because I'm sad now.